All right, hello everybody. Welcome back for another sketching exercise. So today we're going to go over the CSWP part that we did in class. You'll see that I already have our global variables set up. I did this just to save time because there's a lot of them in here. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and I'm going to begin my sketch in the top plane. And I'm going to go to my corner rectangle tool. I'm going to start from the origin, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle out about like so. I'll hit Smart Dimension, and I'm going to dimension this length equal to B. And then hit my green check mark. And then I'm going to dimension this one to A. And both of those are done now. I can hit my green check mark, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Extrude Base Boss. I'm going to extrude it 25 millimeters up, and I'll hit my green check mark, and I'm good to go there. Now I have a boss that I need to add, so I'll go to top plane again, open sketch. I'm going to go to my corner rectangle tool, and I'm going to begin my sketch from right here, and I'm going to go about 60 millimeters. Again, doesn't have to be exact, but just needs to be close. We're going to dimension it. So now I'll dimension that to 60. And I'll dimension this one to 60. And this is going to add another 0 here in a second, I am sure. There we go. All right, so now we are 60 by 60. We have a fully defined sketch, so I'm going to click on my Features tab. I'm going to do an Extrude Base Boss. Now you'll notice that I sketched this in the top plane, so it puts the sketch on the bottom there. And we're going to extrude it 35 millimeters because the distance actually that it has to be dimensioned from is 35 from the bottom of this here. So that's why I drew it on the bottom like that. I'll hit my green check mark, and that is good to go. Now I'm going to go back into my top plane again. I'm going to open another sketch. And then this time I'm going to draw two construction lines or center lines, and I'm just going to kind of guesstimate where they go. Right now, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go to about here. Then I'll go straight down. I'm locking it into that geometry there. And then I'm going to go ahead and dimension these. So I'll dimension from here. And that is going to be equal to C. So we'll come over here, type in C, hit our green check mark, and then we have a dimension to here. That is also going to be equal to C. And we need to get rid of one of those plus signs there. That's good. That locks that in. We know that our global variables are set because we get that little E symbol right there that lets me know that that's what we want. So now I can go into my line drawing tool. I'm going to draw a line from this point to here, about 80 millimeters. Again, doesn't have to be exact. Just has to be close because we will dimension it. And then I'm going to come up here about 80 millimeters and do the same. And then I'll do my center arc tool. And I'm going to do from here to here. And then I'm going to go ahead and dimension everything here. That's going to be 80 millimeters. And this one will be 80 millimeters. You'll see that I have a fully defined sketch. So right now I can go into my offset entities tool. I want to make sure that I have that set to 15 millimeters. And I'm going to offset this geometry right here. Yep, and that one is going in the wrong direction. So we'll unselect that line. And I'll hit my green check mark. And then I'll come back in here. I'll offset that one. Reverse it. Sometimes it acts a little funny. I'm not sure why it does it like that, but it does. And then now we're going to enclose this sketch. Hit my green check mark. We still have a fully defined sketch, so we're good to go. Now go to Features tab. We're going to do an Extrude Base Boss. I'm going to select here. This is going to be 95 millimeters right there. And then our selected contours are going to be right there. So that is 95 millimeters from the bottom as it shows in the blueprint. And I'll hit my green check mark. So we're doing pretty good right now. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a quick fillet. And this is going to be 15 millimeters because I need to do some offset geometry again. But I need this fillet to be in here before I do that. And I don't want the face. I want my line right there. And 15 millimeters. And that puts that fillet in there. And then we'll go back into our top plane and open another sketch. And this time I'm going to offset entities. It's going to be 9 millimeters. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around selecting the geometry that I want to offset, which is going to be all of this right here, like so. I hit my green check mark, and I have my sketch in there. So I'm going to go to my Features tab. I'm going to do an extruded cut, but what I want to do is I want to offset my sketch 5 millimeters. And I'm going to do up to surface on here, but I just need to click. I need to select here. And for my surface, I'm going to do that right there. So I make sure if I look at it from right here, my sketch is offset 5 millimeters off the bottom. It's going up here to the top. And when I hit my green check mark, I have my hole in there, which is what we wanted. All right, so now what I'm going to do is make things a little easier. I'm going to add a fillet because I got to have to fillet these corners here. And I'm going to do that at 10 millimeters for this. And then I'm just going to select my corners here, like so. Here, here, and here. It's 10 millimeters, and now those are filleted just the way I wanted it to be. All right, so there are two ways to do what I'm going to do next. I'm going to show you one way on this one, and I'll show you the other way on this one, and you'll know both ways to do it then. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to my reference geometry, and I'm going to create a plane. And I can click on this surface, and I want to offset it 10 millimeters, which it is, off of that surface, and I can hit my green check mark. So now what I'll do is I'll open a sketch on that plane, and I'm going to go to my circle tool, and I'm going to highlight the center of this rib right here, and that's where I'm going to put my circle. I hit my green check mark. I'm going to go ahead and dimension it. I'm going to dimension that is equal to X. So we'll go down here, we'll select X, hit my green check mark, and then I'm going to do an extruded base boss or boss base. Right here, I need to change the direction, and it is going to be equal to D. So we'll do equal, and then we'll select D, hit my green check mark, and then hit my green check mark. Now we have to put a hole through here, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that face and open a sketch. Select on here, do that there, dimension this. This is going to be equal to E, so equal, and then E. We can do our green check mark and say okay, green check mark, and then we're going to do an extruded cut. And a couple ways I can do that. I can say up to surface, kind of like to do that. So if it changes length or anything like that, it'll continue on in other drawings. I can hit my green check mark, and that one is done. Now I'm going to go ahead and hide this plane because we don't need to look at that. Now the second way that we can do what I just did here is I'm going to open a sketch on that surface. I'll go into my circle tool. I'm going to click on the center point here, and I'm just going to draw out. I'm going to hit my green check mark, go to Smart Dimension. This one is going to be equal to Y. So we'll do equal, hit our global variable here, and we're going to go down to Y. We'll hit our green check mark, hit our green check mark. And then over here, we're going to do an extrude base boss. Now, I want you to see this, because right now it's on that surface right there, and it also has to be offset. The start of the cylinder here has to be offset from that point. So if I go to offset, and I type in 10 millimeters, like so. So now I'm offset 10 millimeters, the direction I want. So here I will change the direction that I'm going, and then I'm going to make this equal to D. Hit my green check mark. Right there, we have that other boss in here, and then I can click on that face, open another sketch. We're going to go to our circle drawing tool. We're going to put another circle in here. That one is also going to be equal to E. So we'll go ahead and hit that there, make that equal to E, hit our green check mark, exit out of our dimension tool. We will go to extrude cut. We're still going up to surface. So I'll go ahead and click that right there. And now the only thing that we have to do, well, we have a few other things, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the drop down here and go to chamfer. And I want it to be a 2 millimeter chamfer by 45 degrees. So now all I have to do is click the edges that I want to chamfer right here. Hit my green check mark. We're good. And then I'm going to do a fillet. We're set at 10 millimeters. I'm going to go ahead and fillet these corners right here. So hit my green check mark. Now the only thing that I have left to do on this in my features tab, if I go to Hole Wizard, I need to be in counterbore, which is this one right here. It's already selected. I have to be in ANSI metric. The type is going to be a hex bolt ANSI B18.2.3.5 millimeters or M. The size is going to be 8. The fit is going to be close. I'm going to do a custom size. So the through hole is going to be 15 millimeters. The counter bore is going to be 30 millimeters, and the counter bore depth is going to be 10 millimeters. The condition is through all, in condition is through all, right here, and then I don't have anything else selected, no near side countersink or anything like that, because it does not call for it. Now, when I go into position, it tells me that I need to select a sketch or a surface. So I'm going to select this surface right here, and I'm just going to kind of guess at it right here, get it close, and then I can come over here and I can dimension where it needs to be. So here we're going to be at 30 millimeters because we want it right in the center. And then here will be 30 millimeters because we want it right in the center. 30 and 30, everything looks good. Hit my green check mark. I have all of my features in here, and the only thing left to do is add material. So from here, I'm going to click on Edit Material. I'm going to go down to Alloy Steel, hit Apply, close this out. Then when I go to Evaluate and Mass Properties, this is the answer that I'm looking for. It needs to be, mass needs to be equal to 14,207.34 grams. That is what we are looking for. If it is off of that, should be less than 1%, but as I always say in class, is you want this number if you're taking your CSWA or CSWP exam, you want, especially in your first part, you want that number to match exactly. You don't want it to be off a little bit. You want it to match exactly. So we are good to go. So now what I would do is if I were actually taking the test, I would save this, and I would say that this is going to be, I'm going to save this to my desktop, and I would call this CSWP Q1, because this is question 1, and I would hit save. Now, in our practice exam that we did earlier today, we have some changes that we have to make to this. So what I would do here is I would go to our next one, and I would say, what are the changes that I need to do? So what I would do here is I would go up here and I would hit the drop down next to the save icon and save as, and then I would change this from question 1 to question 2 and hit save. And then I would look at my global variables or my equations tab here. You can manage equations, and we would change everything. So A is going to be 225. B is going to be 210. C is going to be 176. D is going to be 137. E is going to be 39. 39. And then X is going to be A divided by 3, and Y is going to remain B divided by 3 plus 10. It does not look like we're making any changes to the whole wizard that we did at all. So here, what I would do is I would hit OK. And then with those changes on the test, what they would do is they would say, all right, so go back to evaluate and mass properties, and then what is the current weight with those changes right there. And then you would type this number in right here. Right there. That's the number that you would type in. Okay, so now what I would do, once you type that in, I would just go ahead and save that. And then I would go to my next see if I have another change to this part, which according to this I do. So I would look at these changes that I have to do, and then it gives me a blueprint. It gives me a blueprint here for this. So this is 3. So here for 3, actually, we would just make additional changes to it and then weigh the part, and then it goes to changes to the blueprint where we get rid of stuff. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with this. Since we're in the middle of the video, we might as well finish everything out, right? So now we have it saved as question 2. We're going to save this one, save as, and we're going to say that this is 3 right here. And then we're going to go ahead and change our global equations to reflect our new numbers, like so. And then we have 218. We have 169. We have 125. We have 41. It looks like our bolt is going to remain the same, and X and Y are also going to remain the same. So we don't need to make any changes to that. We go ahead and hit OK. We go ahead and save our part. Then we would come back over here to mass properties, and we would annotate those changes right here in the test. We would write that number in the box that it gives us, and then we would continue on to the next question. So the next one, it brings us to 4 and 5. And then what we have to do here is we have some more global variables. So now I'm going to save this as question 4. Hit enter. And then I have to go to my global equations again. And I'm going to make my changes. So now we're going to be at 221. And then we'll be at 211. We'll be at 165. We'll be at 121. We'll be at 37. X is still the same, and Y is now B divided by 3 plus 15. So, and then we hit our green check mark. And then we go over here and we make the changes that they ask us to make in our blueprint. So let's see what we have to change here. Most of it looks to be the same as far as our dimensions go, but then what they do is they tell us that they no longer want this boss in here, right here. So what we would do here on this, if we click on that, we can suppress that feature, and then we can go to this boss right here, and we can suppress that one as well. So when we do that, that suppresses a bunch of other features that we have in here. So we'll be good there. Now, what we have to do, though, is we have to do a pocket right here, and it looks like it gives us the same thing. So I would just open a sketch in the top plane, like so, and then I'm going to go to my offset entities, and this, according to this, is going to be offset 9 millimeters, which is what we're already at. So then all I'm going to do is I'm going to click those edges and click that edge right there. And then I can just rotate this around to get the edges that I need, like so. Like so. That's what we're looking for. I can hit my green check mark. And we'll go ahead and do actually, let me look at this sketch, because I think what we're going to wind up doing is I'm going to get rid of that right there. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do an extend entity, and I'm going to click. Well, you're not going to let me do that. So what I can do is I'll just exit out, and I'll draw that out. Draw that out till they intersect. Come back in here to trim and trim both of those out. So now I have a fully enclosed sketch, like so. Everything is offset by 9 millimeters. I'm going to go to my extrude cut. I want to offset from the surface. I'm going to say 5 millimeters, because that's what the blueprint says, like so. I want to make sure that it's going in the right direction, which it currently is. I'm going to go ahead and clear that. I'm going to change the direction, and I'm up to surface, so I am just going to click like so and hit my green check mark. Now, the radiuses that we have to go in here, we have to do a fillet. It's supposed to be 10 millimeters, so we're good right there. We're going to do one here, 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 and here. Hit my green check mark. We have that one in there. And then, wait for it, we have another one in the back side here. So what we'll do here is we're going to come over here, and this is also going to be 9 millimeters. So if I go to open another sketch, and this one is also going to be 5 millimeters. So I'll click on my top plane, I'll open a sketch, and then I'm going to offset entities. I'm going to select that one and reverse it. In that way, it's going to be 9 millimeters. And I really hate when it does that to me. So we'll go ahead and click that one and reverse it. Click here. I'm going to offset. I'm going to click that one, and I'll reverse that one like so. And click green. And then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to offset this one. That's also 9 millimeters, like so. Hit my green check mark. So now what I'm going to do, according to my sketch here, is I can come in here and I can just do to here. And then I'm also going to do to here. Hit my green check mark. I'm going to go ahead and trim out this other line that I no longer need. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and extend these like so. And then come in here and trim. I have my fully defined sketch right now. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'll come over to features. I'm going to do an extrude cut. I'm going to be offset from the surface. It's going to be 5 millimeters, like so. And I can look at it once I select what contours I want. This is the one that I want to do. I'm going to go up to this surface, and then I can just look right here. I can zoom in and I can see it's offset 5 millimeters. I hit my green check mark. Uh-oh. Oh, uh-oh. I wasn't paying attention to that one. Oh my goodness. All right, so I got to come back in here to this sketch. And I have a bunch of stuff that I have to fix now. So let me get rid of this. That's why it behooves you to pay attention to what you're doing. So I'm going to offset. I'm going to go ahead and click that. I'm going to reverse direction. Make sure it's going in the right direction. Now I can hit my line tool here. And these are the little things that can really mess you up in the exam, especially if you get flustered. Create all kinds of problems for you. Now that we've got that fixed, we'll go ahead and exit out and everything should update again. We'll go into our fillet tool. It's going to be 10 millimeters over here as well. Do that one and that one right there. I hit my green check mark. I have those fillets in there. And then what do we have left? So I have a cutout here that I have to take care of, and it's an offset of 10 millimeters that I have to do here on this surface right here. And we have, all right. So what I can do right here is I'm going to do a sketch right here. I'm going to go ahead and open that sketch up right there. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to convert, well, actually before I do that, I'm going to do an offset. And I'm just going to pick that circle. I want it to be 10 millimeters. And I want to reverse it to right there. So then I can hit my green check mark. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that circle and I'm going to convert that. And then what I need to do, or what I will do here, is from here, I want to go vertically. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to go up vertically. Hit the green check mark. And then I'm just going to trim everything out of here. And like so. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to exit out of there. Now I'm going to do an extrude cut on this, but when I do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an extrude cut, and it needs to be offset from the surface, and it's going to be offset 30 millimeters. So we'll click that. It's going to be blind. All right, and I need to change the direction. And it is also going to be 30 millimeters. So we're going to go ahead and just get rid of that one right there and hit OK. That looks to be what I want. So I hit my green check mark and I have my cutout in there. I don't see anything else in here that I need to do. That looks like I'm done. Or am I? Nope, we're not. So we have to redo our chamfers. And this can make a little bit of a difference on here. So we'll find our chamfer for these holes, which appears to be this one right here. We're going to go ahead and edit that. So now it is supposed to be 2 degrees at 30 millimeters. Or 30 degrees. Excuse me. I'm sorry. So we can look at that, and depending on how it does those chamfers can determine whether or not your value comes out correct or not. So we've made all of our changes. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, it gives me an option. So we have to do our evaluate and match properties. We are at 13206.35. And the closest answer we have to that is 13206.40. So what we can do here is if we come back in here to this chamfer and look at that, and if we flip the direction on all those, and then we come back over here to our match properties, it changes us. It gets us a little bit closer, 13206.37, and so that's pretty close for me. I would prefer a answer a little bit closer in there, but since I am well within that 1%, I would say that this is good on there. So with that, then I'm going to go ahead and hit my save button, and I am good to go with that one. And then let's see what they have us do for number 5 when that one was done. So, our next changes. So the only thing that we're going to do here is we would come in here. We're going to save this as part 5. And we have part 5 up here. And then we would come over here to our equations. We're going to manage our equations. So now we're going to be at 229. And we'll be 217 millimeters. 163. 119. 34. X is going to be A divided by 3, and Y is going to be B divided by 3 plus 15. So that's all good. We'd hit our OK there. Go ahead and save our part. Then we come back into evaluate, match properties, and then we would look at our weight right here. And that's what we would put in the answer block on the test. So we have gone through 5 questions. Oops. What are we doing here? Let's try that again. There we go. So we've gone through 5 questions. No problem. And that's kind of what you can expect on your CSWA and CSWP test when you take that. So if you have any questions, leave me a message down below or hit me up in class and we can discuss it in class. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one.